The legal battle between Martell Holt and Melody Cherie has once again become one of the biggest talking points among fans. This time, the attention is focused on what happened during a recent court hearing involving a protection from abuse petition that had been filed on behalf of the children. Soon after the hearing ended, Martell decided to share his side of the story publicly through social media, and his posts quickly started spreading across the internet. According to Martell, the judge listened to testimony, reviewed the evidence presented during the hearing, and then dismissed the petition. He shared images of court paperwork and told his followers that he believed the decision proved that the accusations against him were not supported in court. His message was clear. He wanted people to know that he viewed the outcome as a victory and as proof that the claims made against him should not be believed. The documents that he shared reportedly stated that the matter came before the court on the 12th of June 2026 for a final hearing concerning a petition that had been filed by Melody on behalf of the minor children. The paperwork also reportedly stated that both parties appeared with their attorneys and that, after considering the testimony and evidence, the temporary protection order that had previously been entered was dismissed. As soon as these documents appeared online, many people began debating what the dismissal actually meant. Some supporters of Martell immediately celebrated the decision and argued that it completely cleared his name. Others were much more careful in their interpretation and pointed out that a dismissal does not automatically prove that every allegation was false. Court decisions often depend on legal standards, available evidence, and many different factors that are not always obvious to the public. That difference in interpretation became one of the biggest discussions surrounding the case. While Martell viewed the dismissal as complete vindication, others reminded people that legal outcomes can be more complicated than social media posts make them appear. It is common for different sides to read the same court decision in very different ways. Martell also referred to previous court matters and claimed that this was another example of what he described as repeated attempts to damage his reputation. He even shared an older dismissal order and suggested that similar accusations had been made before. In his public statements, he argued that people should stop accepting every story they hear without looking at the facts presented in court. His posts became even more emotional when he discussed the children. According to Martell, 2 of the older children testified during the proceedings. He expressed sadness about hearing testimony that he believed was not true and said that it hurt him deeply as a father. He also questioned the emotional effect that the process could have on the children after returning to spend time with him. The mention of the children immediately changed the tone of the conversation online. Many people who had been debating the legal issues shifted their attention toward the emotional side of the family situation. Regardless of which parent they support, many observers agreed that seeing children involved in courtroom disputes is heartbreaking. When parents are involved in legal conflicts, children often become caught in the middle without having any control over the situation. Even when adults believe they are acting in the best interests of the children, the experience can still be stressful for young people who love both parents. That is why many viewers focused less on the legal victory or defeat and more on the emotional cost for the family. The original commentary discussing Martell's posts also offered an important reminder. The speaker explained that a dismissed case does not necessarily mean someone lied. Instead, it may simply mean that the legal requirements needed for that specific petition were not met based on the evidence presented. That distinction is important because legal rulings are based on legal standards rather than public opinion. This point created another wave of discussion among viewers. Some believed the dismissal should end all criticism toward Martell, while others argued that people should avoid making conclusions that go beyond what the court actually decided. In many legal cases, the public only sees a small part of the overall picture. Social media often makes these situations even more confusing. A single screenshot or a short caption can spread rapidly across thousands of accounts before anyone takes time to understand the full context. Once opinions become divided, every new document or statement is viewed through the lens of existing support for one side or the other. Martell's message also included criticism of people who, in his opinion, have continued to push negative narratives about him. He suggested that some individuals care more about attention or financial gain than truth. Statements like these naturally sparked more reactions because they challenged not only the opposing party, but also content creators and commentators who discuss the case. For viewers following this story over the years, This latest development is only one chapter in a much longer history of public disagreements between Martell and Melody. Their relationship has remained under public attention long after their personal lives became part of reality television, and many fans have closely watched every legal filing, interview, and social media update. Because of that history, every new development quickly becomes headline news within the fan community. Even a simple Instagram story can generate thousands of comments, reaction videos, and online debates within hours. That pattern repeated once again after Martell shared the court documents and his interpretation of the outcome. Supporters on both sides quickly defended their preferred version of events. Some praised Martell for speaking publicly and sharing paperwork that they believed backed up his claims. Others argued that people should wait for more complete information before reaching conclusions and reminded everyone that legal matters are often more complicated than they first appear. The discussion also raised broader questions about how public figures handle family disputes in the age of social media. Years ago, many of these disagreements would have remained private and limited to courtrooms. Today, however, nearly every filing, hearing, or statement can become public within minutes, allowing millions of strangers to weigh in on deeply personal family issues. That creates another challenge. Every public statement is immediately analyzed, criticized, defended, and repeated across multiple platforms. Fans often choose sides and become emotionally invested, making it even harder for balanced conversations to take place. Instead of focusing on verified facts, discussions sometimes become driven by loyalty to one person over another. At the center of all this attention are the children, whose lives continue outside of headlines and social media debates. Many observers believe their well-being should remain the highest priority, regardless of who wins or loses any particular legal argument. That shared concern may be one of the few areas where supporters from both sides can actually agree. For now, Martell has made his position known very clearly. He believes the dismissal supports his claims and has encouraged people to question narratives that paint him negatively. Whether public opinion changes because of these statements remains to be seen, but there is no doubt that his posts have reignited discussion and ensured that this story will continue to be closely followed.